I just start. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, okay, fine.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
fine, perfect. So, I had actually planned today's session on the request of quite a few teachers who attended my last few webinars, and they were quite apprehensive about teaching invitations and replies to their students. And frankly speaking, apart from discussing the format of teaching, invitations and replies, which we all almost know, I would like to focus on how to teach them effectively. Okay, format, we know there's a little bit of confusion here and there, as in all the writing skills. You talk about formal writing skill, formal letter writing, there is confusion, subject to be written before salutation or after this salutation, whether we should write yours sincerely, faithfully, warm regards, what is acceptable, what, and it is quite subjective, right? Similarly, with a few, format related information, which I will share over here, I would, and talk about one or two samples. I will be discussing how do we teach this, so-called dry topic to our senior most class. They are the ones whose interest is a little difficult, to be bound to a subject. We have to draw their attention. They are so busy with their sciences and their pol science, economics, other subjects. English is, we all know, last on their mind, stepmotherly treatment for English. But I think if we make our teaching learning process, something which is uh, different from the monotonous way in which we teach, we use tools, to make our pedagogy a little interesting, making the teaching learning process fruitful, in which the teacher and the child both are taking part. It's not that the teacher is writing the format on the chalkboard. Okay, fine, this is one example, now you write two more invitations and show to me. If we try to involve the students and try to make our lesson, the execution of the lesson plan a little peppy, the children will definitely enjoy. Okay, so let me just begin with because I see many new names today in the participant list. So let me just talk about something very, very general. Writing skills in general, are a complex skills because a number of sub skills are involved in writing skills. This I have been talking about in all my webinars where I have talked about writing skills, right? Why it is a complex skill? Because the learner has to think, has to plan, the content has to mind his or her expression, the grammar. So it is complex, and this makes the job of the teachers all the more, I must say, difficult, because we have to talk about many things in the class when we are talking about writing skills. It's not just about telling them the format. It's just not about telling them the breakup of the marks. It is much beyond that. How to organize your ideas, how to present your ideas, how to, put them in a logical order with your cohesive devices. So because this is my very short writing skill, and merely 50 words, though organization of content and presentation of ideas are going to matter a lot over here also. But today I'm not talking about the cohesive devices and coherence in detail as I had done in my previous webinars, because then that will take up a lot of time and we will not be able to focus on the topic for today. So I just want to kind of ring a warning bell that all the educators need to be really careful and not finish off writing skills in a jiffy in the class. They actually need to pay attention to many things when they are doing writing skills in their classes. As far as invitations and replies are concerned, writing skills are for 5 marks, as we all know. And we all know about the format, which carries 1 mark, the content, which carries 2 marks, the organization. This is what I was talking about, the organization and accuracy. Many a times we miss on, discussing, telling the students, teaching the students how to organize ideas. Okay, fine, you will get 1 mark for organize, but how? That is where our coherence and cohesion comes into play, and the practice comes into play. And I may plan one more webinar totally on cohesion and coherence, but today I'm not going deep into that. That will deal with accuracy also. So in all, this is the 5 mark writing skill, which we all know. Now, the types of invitations, again, we all are very familiar with this, that we have formal invitations, which are meant for the, large scale functions, whether it is the inauguration of some shop or a conference or a wedding or school function, a prize distribution ceremony, fine. We can have formal invites for that. These formal invites can be of two types. It could be a letter type invite. It could be a card type invite. If you have to give this example to your students, I'm sure you all must be giving. If it is for the masses, you have to invite a lot of people. We prefer card type invitations. Okay. Now here, please clarify to your students, sometimes even large scale programs can have letter type invitations. For example, if there is a marriage ceremony, okay, which for which say 25, 50 people are invited. So maybe the host does not want to get these cards printed. Um, he wants to mail, now email, or maybe write letters, 50 letters. It's okay, they can do it, fine. So read the question carefully. If the question says that you have to write a letter type invitation, there is no other choice, you have to write a letter type invitation. If the question says that write a card type invitation, then you have to write a card type invitation. You all must be going for spot evaluation. I was going through last year's spot evaluation marking scheme, and I saw there, for which we all were really very upset last year when we went for spot evaluation, that if the child mixes format, don't deduct marks. When we are training our students, we don't have to tell them this. We have to tell them that follow one format, whether you are doing the letter type format or whether you are doing the card type format, follow only one format. But we know CBSE is very lenient. They are very, very child friendly. They want to give marks for whatever the child has attempted. So there was no deduction for marks for even mixing the formats. Okay. So that is only to remain on the safe side, that our children will be benefited if God forbid, they commit some kind of an error. Otherwise, a letter type invite is usually written for inviting somebody formally, one-on-one, whether it is, to invite somebody to become a judge or a chief guest, or, someone to not only institutions like schools, etc., but for maybe, addressing a group in a company, fine, to maybe hold some kind of motivational speech, or maybe some practice of self-help, for which you have so many seminars, incorporates. So maybe that. Okay. Your informal invitations are usually, very, very personal ones, written for something which is being organized on a small scale. Informal invitation is always a letter type invitation written in the format of an informal letter to close relatives and friends. Here, I would like to quote an example which was there in probably the question paper of 2-3 years ago, post pre-pandemic times. Okay, so this question stated that it is the 50th anniversary of your grandparents. Draft an invitation to invite people. Okay, so we had both types of invitations. Children um, wrote down card type, they drafted card type invitations also, and they drafted informal letter type invitations also. So me at my center, when we discussed with our Rechi, and you people must have done the same, I guess, we had to be awarded marks to both of them. Why? Because this could be something which is large scale. The child might have thought that I am, hosting a grand function. I want to send a a card type invitation. The child may think that it's a small scale, a ceremony for which I want to just draft a few letters. So because the question did not say anything, mark, and it is something which is, a mix of a large scale invitation. Please, there's somebody who's played music in between. Okay. So what I was trying to say is that because the question was kind of, a googly, exactly, it was up to how, as to how the students interpret it, right? So marks were awarded to both. It could be a large scale program for which a card type invitation is needed. It could be something which is a very, very personal affair for which a letter type invitation. So marks were awarded to both. Okay. So please tell your students to read the question very carefully, and as far as possible, wherever this kind of a confusion is there, always benefit is given to the students rightfully. It should be given. Okay. So I've already discussed that what is the basis of the division of the format. It is the type of occasion and the type of people and the number of people. If the people whom you are inviting are your family members and your friends and your relatives, so it will be an informal invitation. And if you are inviting somebody formally, so obviously it will be a formal invitation. So this is the basis of deciding what kind of an invitation we have to draft. Okay. Now coming to the formal invitation. I'm sure this is a very, very common formal invitation, which you all must be doing, must have done till now with your students. Fine. Please try to give them this formatting. Tell them this is the, way in which the formal invitation is drafted, how it is in a one line format. The invitation is centrally aligned. Then after this, many a times we miss telling the students that in the first line, it is the format, it is customary that you have to write the name of the host. Then your second sentence is the standard expression. Then you have to write the purpose of the invitation, the name of the organization or the honoree or the bride or the groom, then the day, date, time, the venue. So while talking about the format, we give them a foggy description, just by sharing 10 invitations with them. And now after the pandemic era, it is so easy. On the click of a button, you'll share one PPT with them. Okay, fine, there are 10 invitations here, you can have a look at them. We need to tell them in detail. We need to clarify. In my slides, which are going to come after this, I'm going to talk about the standard expression also. The standard expression, you need to do hand holding. Tell them these are the 10, 12, 15 types of standard expressions. You can choose any one of them, right? Don't just limit yourself to gracious presence, auspicious occasion, just, this much. So this is the role of we the educators, how we try to make the students confident. Because if we don't do this kind of hand holding and just give them a vague idea of any writing skill for that matter, the child will not feel confident. And when I try to address my dear facilitators, those who join my webinars, I always address them in a way, because I understand I am also a teacher in practice. I teach in a school. I know in my class there are children of all the levels. There are students to whom if I just show the black invitation, which is there on your screen just now, they will be able to do it on their own. I don't even have to tell them the parts of the format. There are students whom I show them the current format, maybe on the chalkboard, maybe on your smart boards, how you want to show them. They will be able to do it. But there are students to whom, after you have shown everything, even then they will not be able to write. We have to cater to students of all the levels. And this is where, proper hand holding and your presence in the class will matter. So please address to the needs of everyone, right? Now, after talking about this, you can do this, I'm trying to tell you a way in which you can, maybe have a quiz in the class. You can involve the students. Put up these somewhere on the board, on the chalkboard, anywhere that you want to. Fine. Tell them, you have already told them that this is the order of your format. This is where the host name should come. This is where the name of the honoree should come. This is where the purpose of the invitation to come. Okay, fine. Now put it in proper order. Fine. Tell them to work in pairs. Give them 5 minutes. Give them 2 minutes. Okay, fine. 2 minutes over. And then give them the answer. Fine. You can tell them to come and write on the board. You can number it on the chalkboard itself. So this is how you will be able to involve the students. You will be able to reinforce what you have just told them in the class. You've discussed the format with them. You've told them this is the format. These are the parts of the format. Now you are just trying to reinforce it. Okay, fine. Another way could be, see, again, in jumbled order, you've written the parts of the format, the 8 parts that we have. Fine. Tell them this is the sequence number match, which is number 1, which is, it's just variety of the previous question only. And all of these I have curated just in the last week when I was preparing for today's webinar. I've tried to curate them on my own. I have not got them from anywhere. That if you tell me, ma'am, koi site bata do, from where have you got it? No. I just try to, find out ways how I would make my class effective. And I swear, as of now, even I have not used them in my class. I did something else with them, but not this, right? So every time when I take up invitations and replies in my class, I do something different with them. So this time I did not do this. So you can do anything that you feel like what suits your students' requirement. Okay. Now you have another way of doing the same thing. Fine. You have to see. You had done one invitation with them. Fine. Now another invitation you've brought for them. You distribute sheets to them. You do it on the chalkboard. You do it on your smart board. Make a PPT like this. You make it once and it's made forever. This we all know. One time that ache is there, but once you bear that pain, once you tolerate it, then it's, a bliss forever, right? So tell them now to fix it. Now they have some idea. In the previous activities, what you had done was you had not given them the content. You had just given them the names of the format. Here, what you have done, you have given them the content and you've told them to match the format, the parts of the format with it. And then maybe you can tell them this is the way of doing it. One by one, they can come and do it on the chalkboard, or you can just, I have done here, you can tell them to do it in their notebooks and they can check whether the answer is correct or no. So this is another way of, kind of reinforcing the format so that they do not forget and they do not make a mistake and they enjoy your class also. Okay. So after you have done this, I'm sure what I'm doing now with all of you, you've already done with your students. Then come to the points to remember that formal language is used in formal invitations. A box is mandatory in a card type invitation only, but not in a letter type invitation. Tell this to them. Don't be in a hurry. Oh, we have to tell them the rules. We have to tell them the rules. Then what is going to happen is that uh, because so much of information is given to them together, we are in a hurry to finish off our syllabus that we just give me a second. Is my screen still there now? I think, is the
Yes,
screen visible?
ma'am. Yes,
Visible?
ma'am. It is
Yeah.
visible. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am, it's
fine, fine,
visible.
fine. Yeah. Okay, fine. So now you tell them that because if we give them so much of information together without making them comfortable with the topic, right? As I told you in the beginning only, students find it a dry topic, teachers find it a dull topic to teach, frankly speaking. Fine. So don't straight away jump to the do's and don'ts. Make them interested. Now they will listen to you. Tell them that a card type invitation is written in third person. A simple present tense is used usually. It is almost now they will relate. If you tell them on slide number 1 itself, it's a single sentence presentation, they will not be able to understand. Now they will be able to relate. Yes, it's a single sentence presentation. Go back to the previous slide or go back to your chalkboard, point it out to them and tell them that, see, I have not put any punctuation here. Fine. Point it out to them that the date of writing is not mentioned, right? And then now when they are interested, they are familiar with the parts of the format of your letter card type invitation. You have told them about the name of the host. Now the standard expression, tell them, Anu ma'am, do you want to say something or is it by mistake that you're raising your hand? Okay, I think it's by mistake. Cordially invite or invites after the name of the host. Request or requests your benign presence. Seek or seeks the presence of your company. Give them this list. Cordially request. See, we all know this. You and I are familiar with this. But do we give this list to our students? Right? So once we share this with them, then they will become confident. The next activity that you do with them, when you tell them to write one invitation on their own, tell them to pick up from here. See, it will be very easy for the ones who can do it on their own. Your above average children will do it. Now your below average child, your average child will also be able to write something. He will not say, ma'am, I'm not able to write. Ma'am, I was not able to understand what you told just 10 minutes ago in the class. You tell the child that, see, write the name of the host from the question itself. Pick up one or two expressions from here. Which one do you like? Which one do you think is fit? Okay. The child will surely write. You will not get a completely unattempted invitation in the class. When you're doing it for the first time, they will write something, and that is more than enough for us. We can always polish that, right? Then the purpose of the invitation, tell them that the purpose is all this. Now read the question and figure out what is the invitation you are writing for. Write that as the purpose. What is the name of the honoree or the organization? Pick up the question. This is everything is written in the question. Find from the question and write down the date, time, and event we have to fabricate on our own. Tell them the format in which the date is written, the dot and the slash and the hash format of date is not allowed. If we are writing the month, it should be in full form. Don't write J and Jan for January. Fine. Tell them all this here. Then tell them to write the name and venue. If it is there in the question, okay. If it is not there, fabricate it. Tell them that you don't have to write your own address or your own phone number here. Fine. So this is how they will, this is how you will do the hand holding with them. Okay. talk about any other special information or instruction which is to be mentioned there, whether it is a dress code or the material. Point out to them that, do you remember the annual day cards, that invitation cards that you get when we invite you for the annual day, and it is mentioned at the bottom that take the seat before 5 p.m, don't carry your briefcase or laptop bags along. Fine. So similar kind of instruction, do you find it is suitable for the invitation that you are drafting, or is there anything related to the dress code that is there that you want to mention? Yeah, maybe there is something where nothing is required. It is not a mandatory part of your invitation. Okay, then talk about RSVP. Tell them what is the meaning of RSVP, because this is how we will impress them. In each and every of my class, students definitely ask me, ma'am, what is the meaning of RSVP? Because they see it in the cards which they get at their places, whether it's a wedding card or wherever. They want to know the meaning. Familiarize them. Fine. This is how you will be able to draw their attention. You will be able to keep them focused on what you are you're teaching in the class. Okay. So for everyone, I put down the phonetic pronunciation also over here, so that it is easy for any one of us who finds it difficult to pronounce the word. Okay, fine. Then if there is any chief guest, we tell this to the student, mention the name of the chief guest, mention the name of the special invitee, but how to write it? Tell the students. Now, your weak child who is already writing with you in the class, tell them the chief guest for the occasion is dash. Write down the name. If the name is there in the question, the chief guest for the occasion is Ruskin Bond. So write that. Dash has you can use another way of writing the same thing. That Dash has consented to preside over the function as the chief guest. Write the name here. If it is there in the question, pick it up from there. If it is not there in the question, fabricate on your own. Okay. So this is how the students will feel comfortable, and then they will not feel that, oh my God, what a difficult thing it is. And obviously, when they write their first draft in this way, they will definitely be able to um, uh, get a second better draft of it, right? So I think once you have done it in this way, your hand holding has been, in this fashion, definitely your students will not find invitation drafting difficult. You will not find invitation teaching how to draft an invitation difficult. Okay. Now, in a formal letter type invitation, we have to tell the students that usually third person is used, fine, and the format of a formal letter is used. And we have to teach the format of the formal letter to the students. I had done this in my last webinar, which was about letter writing. I'm not doing letter writing, formal letter writing format in detail over here. I'm assuming that we all have taught this to our students. And yes, we have to explain them that the letter is not written in a box. The difference between a card type and a letter type invitation is one of the differences is this also, that the letter type invitation does not go in a box. Okay. So when we are writing a letter type invitation, we will write in formal language. We will use the one paragraph format. We will use the format of a formal letter. We all know it's a 50-word a writing skill, and third person is used. Okay, you will give this kind of a sample. I have picked up, I'm so sorry, this is a typing error over here. Fine, it's King Lear. Okay, you will talk about the format of the formal letter. I told you how the line has to be left, how the date has to be written. Fine, how the salutation has to be written, then how the subject has to be written. After so many discussions with many respectable resource persons, master trainers, and this spot evaluation experience, I have adopted writing subject after the salutation. For board examinations, subject should be there. As far as it is there, they award you marks, whether you write it above the salutation, whether you write it below the salutation. Okay. Apart from this, I do not believe in any other resource, because all the resources out there are not authentic, whether it is your Google or whether it is any resource book that you refer to. So I prefer to stick to my experience and the decision of quite learned ones, not all the learned ones, but quite a lot of them. I adopt this and I use this one only. Okay, fine. Talk about the one paragraph format.